Hi everyone, welcome to Grow Roots. This is Shannon, and today I'm going to be talking about something I know all of us are thinking about maybe and starting to figure things out, and that is how I'm going to be seed starting this year. So there are so many different options for seed starting, and many of you are gardening like fruits and vegetables and things like that. I am what they call an ornamental gardener, so I'm still thinking about about starting seeds this spring, except I'm thinking about starting ornamental, mainly flowers, pretty things for my garden. And really it's because the cost of these things in the nurseries are really going sky high. So the more things that I can do that are free, the better. And the cheaper, the better, to be honest. And so there are several different methods of seed starting, and I think I've done them all. There's direct sowing, so you're gonna wait until it's the correct time for that specific seed to germinate in the native soil, and then that's when you direct sow it into the garden, into the landscape. There's also indoor seed starting, where you often have grow lights or grow them on a windowsill, and you start them. It depends on each variety of seed, but often 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost, you start them indoors, start growing those little seedlings inside, and then there is quite a process to bringing them from indoors where the environment is perfect to outdoors where they have to get used to nature, and they have to get used to wind and sun and varying temperatures and all that kind of stuff. So that's indoor seed starting. I've done that as well. And then there's also winter sowing, which winter sowing is kind of an easy method, in my opinion, of starting the seeds in these brilliant little milk jug greenhouses or any other plastic devices that you have that have clear tops. You basically start them in the winter time in these little greenhouses, and then you let nature and cold stratification and things, works to your benefit to start the seeds germinating when they're supposed to in nature. And so saying all of that, I think the two methods that are the absolute easiest and what I will probably do from now on is direct sowing and winter sowing. And because right now I'm just getting really enthusiastic about starting all of these seeds, I don't want to wait necessarily to direct sow them, although some of them I will, and I'll tell you which ones. But I am choosing to winter sow this year. I will not be starting anything indoors this year, any seeds anyway. I did that last year, and it's such a process, really. I'm not knocking any of you that love it and do it that way. It's just I've done it 2 years in a row. I had great success the first year, and last year I tried a couple of hacks just to experiment, and it totally ruined almost everything that I had started. So not gonna do that again. Anyway, the hacks I'm not gonna do. If I do indoor seed starting ever again, I'm gonna do it by the book. I'm gonna do it how it's supposed to be done. But knowing that, it's also a little more expensive to do it that way, and it's also a lot more processes to do it that way. You have to slowly and gradually let the seeds get used to the outdoors and things like that. There's lots of things you have to do along the way to make sure that your little seedlings survive. The great thing about winter sowing is, number one, it's super easy. It's just preparing a milk jug like this and putting the appropriate soil in there, and then putting your seeds, planting your seeds, taping it all up, labeling everything, and let it sit outside for the winter time and let it do its own thing. Number two, it's cheap. You don't need grow lights. You don't need heating mats, and you don't have to wait for direct sowing, because direct sowing is also very easy, but you have to wait until your last frost to do that. Well, for many of the things that I'm planting anyway. And then number three, it actually is kind of like a survival of the fittest for your seedlings. Not all of them are going to survive, and that's okay, but this creates a growing environment for them that gets them used to the varying temperatures, the wind, and the sun and all of the things. And so they're actually growing while under those conditions, and it makes for a very hardy seedling. And I think I've actually had more success with winter sown seedlings as opposed to indoor started seedlings, for sure, actually. And so that's why I have chosen to do winter sowing this year. Okay, so I've already started my first round of winter sowing, and I was just honestly limited by the amount of milk jugs that I had. You can kind of use any plastic container that you would like, but I think milk jugs are the best for me. And then you basically have to cut a hole all the way around. I used a hot glue gun to glue holes, a little bit of holes in the sides and a little bit on the bottoms of each to create some drainage. Then you have to fill it with about 3 inches of potting soil, Miracle-Gro potting soil. Pro Mix is actually what I used this time, Pro Mix potting soil. And then you basically just plant the seeds how it says to plant them in the packet, meaning, do you just press them into the soil? Do you lightly cover them with soil? Do you put them 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, 1/2 inch into the soil? Like, what do you do? One thing that I wanted to mention is if you have little critters in your backyard that get into everything, like my puppy, or honestly, Chloe, my garden cat, could do this too. If you want to make sure that nothing tips over these jugs, wind, storms, anything, you might consider doing what I went ahead and did. I got a tie down, and I basically put the tie down through all 6 jugs. You can see that it's going through all of the handles, and then the tie down goes around this table. So my puppy, y'all, she's insane. She will dig into anything she possibly can, especially milk jugs. She actually digs into our trash. She gets out any milk jugs she can find or any plastic that she can find, and she tears it into tiny pieces. So when I was winter sowing these, I was also like, how am I going to make sure that my puppy does not destroy these milk jugs? Because really, if it gets toppled over, which one of mine did, my foxglove, I accidentally dropped it after I'd already planted the seeds. I had to reseed everything because foxglove is only supposed to be sprinkled over the soil surface and pressed in. So I had to reseed because, it tipped over. Well, my puppy is obviously going to tip these over. So just anything that you can do, like if you are growing them against a fence, like this trellis, I couldn't do that, and for a number of different reasons. If you really saw how my patio was, like there's not enough room. Anyway, but this keeps them all in one location, number one, and it also makes sure that they don't get tipped over by wind or puppies or kitty cats or anything else that wants to destroy them. So one little tip if you're going to be winter sowing. So this is my first round. It's 6 jugs. I'll say that when you're starting in winter, which here in North Texas, I kind of had to wait a little bit because they say to wait until your nighttime temperatures are consistently, I think it's in the 40s or even below. And we didn't really get very cold until last week. And of course, I don't know if you probably can't see it. There's actually snow on the ground right now. It's melting today. And so if you hear a little bit of water trickling, I don't know if you can hear that. That's all of the snow melting off my roof and down my rain gutters. And there's just like water, melted snow everywhere. But anyway, I had to wait until we actually got cold. So I started them this week while we had our little snowstorm that was absolutely lovely. And I started my first batch. So the first batch, when you're actually winter sowing, like sowing when it's actually sowing the seeds when it's cold, you're gonna start with your perennials. Anything that's perennial in your area should be safe to go ahead and winter sow those types of seeds. And then cold hardy annuals should be fine too, like pansies. I think I did alyssum. Alyssum, it might be perennial in our area too, but anything that's considered a cold hardy annual, you could go ahead and start with that as well. And so what I did, let's see, what is this one? Okay, yes. So I did hollyhocks. I've never done hollyhocks before. I'm so excited. I found them, the seeds in Target. Target was one of the first to lay their seeds out, and it was just like 5 days ago. I did balloon flower, which I have successfully grown balloon flower from seeds, and it's just an amazing plant. So I went ahead and this is blue balloon flower here. Let's see, I did bergamot. I just had like this random seed packet that was given to me that's just general. It just said bergamot. It didn't say what type. I'm assuming it's wild bergamot, but that's a perennial in our area, also known as bee balm. Never grown it from seed. I have bought it before and it died of powdery mildew before the season end. So we'll see if I have success there. And then larkspur, which, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, I think larkspur is considered a cold hardy annual in our zone, although, wow, there's a military helicopter above us. Hang tight. Okay, I hope you can still hear me, but larkspur. So this is kaleidoscope mix larkspur, also known as delphinium. Absolutely beautiful. And I got foxglove, which, again, this packet was the same manufacturer as the bergamot packet, so it was very generalized and just said foxglove. I have no idea what type. I don't know if they'll work. We'll see. Never grown foxglove from seed before. I know it is a biennial, and so that first year it most likely will not flower. Maybe winter sowing it might have a chance of it flowering, but probably not going to see flowers until next year. Same thing with the hollyhock, I think. And then the last one that I grew is gold dust alyssum, and that is grown as a cold hardy annual here, but I think it can come back in zone 8. So I'm zone 8A, 8B, and so I have it's a yellow color. It's really quite lovely. And then I went to Lowe's yesterday. They finally had their ornamental flower seeds out, and so I'm gonna have to save up some more milk jugs, and as I get them I'm gonna be planting them out. But I plan on winter sowing, let's see, I meant to show y'all these, what they look like. See, this is the generalized seeds packets of the bergamot. Here's the larkspur kaleidoscope. This is the hollyhock country romance. This is the alyssum gold dust, and honestly the balloon flower is my own seed that I've collected from the balloon flowers in the past. So anyway, moving on, the ones that I still need to winter sow as I get the milk jugs available, I'm gonna do Black-Eyed Susan, Rudbeckia again. I just can't keep these. This is a perennial. I just can't keep them alive for more than one season. I don't know why. This is the same variety too. I tried to find Rudbeckia gold sturm seeds. I couldn't find them. This is still Rudbeckia hirta. Sorry, my puppy. You can't see her, but she's, if you see her in the picture, she's sniffing around the seeds. No, come here. Shh. Okay. Anyway, gonna try Black-Eyed Susan vine again, or Black-Eyed Susans again, just simply because nothing beats this pop of yellow and brown, or yellow and black in the landscape. It just is a remarkable flower. I have another type of alyssum that I want to do, alyssum rosy o'day. And then, oh, I'm really excited about this one. This is kind of my replacement for Rudbeckia. I'm thinking if I can't get Rudbeckia to grow and last, look at that. I have a gummy chasing our cat Chloe. Okay, anyway, I got blanket flower, which is also known as Gaillardia. Beautiful, beautiful colors, and another pop of yellow. Somewhat similar looking flower. So I'm excited to grow this one. And then I have been looking for this. I cannot believe I found it in the stores. Yarrow Summer Pastels. I actually was going to order this online for much, much more, and I'm glad I found it. So really excited to grow yarrow. I've never grown it before, but I saw it on my Denton County Master Gardeners tour last year in March. Someone was growing yarrow with echinacea with, was it Rudbeckia? Some yellow flower. No, the yellow was yarrow. They had yellow yarrow, purple echinacea, and one other flower, delphinium, or larkspur, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So that really inspired me to put some yarrow in my garden as well. So super excited about that. Another one, this is again grown as a cold season annual, but also I think could be perennial. It is candy tuft. This is Dwarf Fairy Mixed Colors. So I've never grown candy tuft before either. I love the pink in these. I know they're usually white, so we'll see. I even saw the reviews on this and people were like, no, there's no pink here. This is all white, but we'll see. But I'm excited to grow that. I know it blooms in the winter time even, so that's going to be exciting. Then I have a number of things that I'm going to winter sow. I think I'm going to still do the winter sowing method, but I have to wait a little while because these are tropical, heat-loving annual flowers, and they are not going to do well if I put them out in the wintertime right now. But I'm going to be growing some zinnia varieties. Oh, I didn't bring my other ones out. I have quite a few zinnia varieties this year. I have zinnia Queen Lime. I have zinnia Double Sahara Cherry, I believe. I have one other kind that is a red and yellow kind. I'll put the name on the screen. And then I picked these up just a couple days ago. This is zinnia Pinwheel mix, and then zinnia State Fair mixed. And another one that I'm really excited to grow, I actually wrote this one down in my garden journal, like I have got to grow this next year. I've got to. It is Tithonia, or Mexican sunflower. Really excited about that one. And then another one is Amaryllis, Love Lies Bleeding. I can't believe I found this one either. I mean, it was only $1.99 for this seed packet. So there you go. Oh, and I also got another Zahara mixed. So I have some Zahara double cherry, but some Zahara mixed will be really pretty with that. And some forget-me-nots. I grow these every year. I absolutely love them, but this year I've always grown them in a container. This year I'm going to put them in a part shade location in my garden. I think they're going to do really well. I love forget-me-nots. They're a true blue color. They're so pretty. And then I still have some Sweet William. Oh, actually, I have a lot of Sweet William. And Sweet William is a biennial plant, and here you go. It's just absolutely spectacular, but it grows foliage and roots the first year and flowers the second year, just like the hollyhock, just like the foxglove. And I love it so much. I'm under the assumption that after it flowers, after the first 2 years, the plant will die back. It's very short-lived. That's why it's called biennial. I still have my first set of Sweet Williams are already 2 years old. They flowered for me last year. So I'm waiting to see what they do this year. They're still alive. So, or at least 2 out of the 3 are still alive. So, but I'm going to be growing those every single year in succession so that I always have Sweet William blooming in my garden. So this one, actually, it was in the wrong pile. This is another one that I'm going to, it's a perennial, biennial. It's another one that I'm going to winter sow as soon as I have a milk jug available for it. So I don't have to wait. The other ones, the zinnias and the tithonias, and all of the heat-loving annuals, if I winter sow them, which I may choose to just direct sow them, I think winter sowing is the best option. I can do it a couple weeks before my last frost. They will be fine that way because it's kind of a greenhouse effect in here. So I think I might go ahead and like early March, because my last frost date is I think March 16th or March 20th. I might go ahead and winter sow them in jugs, only because it keeps them confined in this area. It gets them growing faster, in my opinion, and I'll make sure that, you know, they stay watered. Whereas if they're in the garden, I mean, yeah, they'll get watered, but maybe not as much as the seedlings need to be, or as they need to get germinated. They definitely will keep moist and stuff like that inside these. So I probably will be doing it that way. So yeah, that is my plan for all of my seed starting. I'm really, really excited. The hardest part is going to be when the seedlings are ready to go into the garden, where to plant them. And I'm kind of just, I'm trying to map things out. I'm trying to figure out where I want to grow what. And I know that will probably change when it comes time to plant them, and then what to do with the extra seedlings, you know, give them away or what have you. So that's kind of the hardest part, is what to do with all of them afterwards. But I hope this gave you some inspiration. I hope you got some information and inspiration from what you saw today. And I just thank you all so much for watching. Good luck in your seed starting this year. Good luck in your garden. I hope 2025 is an amazing gardening season for you. Goodbye, everybody.